use when you want to say there is some strong obligation. Okay, strong obligation. That means if you don't follow them, okay, something, some action is going to be taken against the person. Like you must obey your parents. So here we are talking about some strong obligation over the person. You must go to school in time. Okay, if you don't go to school in time, so some action will be taken against the person. That's what we are trying to say. It is also used to express compulsion. Okay, when you want to say that something is really compulsory, if you don't follow it, some actions will be taken. For example, if you are advised by the government to wear a mask. Okay, so what is going to be the advisory? You must wear a mask or you should wear a mask?
Must.
Must
You
will be there.
must.
Okay, why it is must, not should?
Ma'am, because shouldn't we can either do it or not, but in must we have to do it.
Yes, you have to do it. Okay, if that is the real case. Otherwise, what will happen? A fine will be collected from the person. Getting it? That means there is some penalty against the person if this thing is not followed. That's why in government advisories, guys, we normally use the word must and not should. But if you are at home and you are just advising your brother to wear a mask, so what will you say? You must wear a mask or you should wear a mask?
Should.
You
The
You
should.
should
should.
will be there. Okay, because we are just telling him, we are advising. Again, it is up to the person whether he takes your advice or not. Okay, like here you must answer all questions, you must return by the evening. So that means these things are really compulsory. So we are going to use must. Now must is also used for saying that something is probably true because nothing else seems possible. For example, we got a question paper. Okay, or let's take another example. Suppose there is a person who has been traveling since morning. Okay, since 4 o'clock till now he has been just traveling and walking possibly. So we can say that he must be tired now. So as a conclusion, when you say that something is possible, okay, that's a probable result, or that's probably true. In that case also we can use the word must. Like you must be tired after a long journey. So we are saying it as a conclusion. There must be some mistakes in the question paper. Okay, we found that there are some mistakes, or as a conclusion we are coming to this point that there must be some mistakes. Now guys, must not is also there. That is going to be used when we say that something is strongly not allowed. Okay, when we say there is a prohibition or something is strongly not allowed, in that case we can use must not. Like you must not come here. So we are trying to say no one is allowed to come to that place, or we are simply saying you are strongly not allowed to come here. So either you can use this total phrase there, like are not, you are strongly not allowed to come here. The sentence becomes lengthy. Okay, or you can simply use the word must not. Like you must not use the office phone for private calls. So that's not allowed or strongly not allowed. Then when you want to give the emphatic advice is going to be when you want to emphasize with someone. Okay, you are concerned about a person, and out of concern, you want to advise someone. Okay, here you want to say out of concern, you are advising someone. In that case also, guys, we can use the word must. Suppose you see someone and the person is sick. So you can say you should consult a doctor. So that is going to be just advice. You have just given the advice. Now it is up to the person whether he takes your advice or not. But if you say you must consult a doctor at once, so you are giving a concerned advice, or you are being emphatic here. Okay, you are giving emphatic advice. You must work hard if you want to get good marks. So you are showing concern here towards the person. So that's why we can also use must in such a case. I hope these things are clear, everyone. Any
Yes,
doubt?
sir.
No,
Yes,
sir.
yes, sir, clear.
No.
No, sir, sir, clear.
Now let's go to the next thing. That's going to be use of has to, have to, and had to. So guys, we use these words also in place of must, but there is a there is a time only when we use either has to, have to, had to, or must. So has to, have to, they are used for obligation in the present time. Okay, if you want to say something in the present time and some obligations are there, then we can use has to or have to. And had to is the word which we use for the past time. Okay, if you want to say something in the past, okay, somebody had to do something in the past, in that case we are going to use the word had to. That's for obligation. Now obligations are also imposed by which word? Must. So how will you differentiate whether we have to use must or we have to use has to, have to, or had to? So remember, Must is used when we have an obligation imposed by the speaker. That means the one who is making the sentence, if he is making a rule for himself or somebody else, in that case you are going to use the word must. And if you have some rule or obligation imposed to you by somebody else, some external authority or some other circumstances, in that case you are going to use have to, has to, or had to. Let's see the example, then we'll clarify the thing. So we have I must reach there in time. So when you say I must reach there in time, so who is making this sentence? Who is the speaker here?
The me.
The person.
The person who is making the sentence, right? For in here I can say I am the one, okay, because I'm the one making the sentence. So here I'm saying, or the person is saying, I must reach there in time. The speaker himself is feeling so. That is why we are going to use must here. Now, if there are some rules which are made, but not by the person, by somebody else, in that case, we can use has to, have to, or had to. Like you have to reach office in time. So when you say you have to reach office in time, so these are the speaker is not feeling to come in time. Okay, but these are some rules which are made by some external authority. In that case, we are going to use have to, has to, or had to. Is that clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So when we have the speaker is imposing something, in that case use the word must. And if there's some external authority telling you to do something, some orders are there to do something, external authority we are talking about, then we can use has to, have to, and had to. Okay, has to, have to are in the present time, and had to is going to be in the past time. Okay, later on we'll discuss it further in detail. For now, just remember guys, has to is basically used with he, she, it, singular noun in the present time. Have to is used with I, we, you, they, plural noun in the present time. And had to is used with any noun or pronoun but in the past time. Okay. For example, you have to reach office in time. He has to reach office in time, we can say. And he had to go early to catch the train. So in the past time, we are saying that it was some obligation was on him. Okay, that he had to reach somewhere on time. Now, uses of has to, have to, and had to. Let's see them. So have to express the obligation and necessity. Okay, when something is necessary or some obligations are there. Okay, imposed by whom? The speaker or imposed by somebody else?
Somebody else.
Somebody else.
Somebody else.
Somebody
Very good.
else.
Okay, when you talk about these things, so we are talking about, we are discussing that some obligation imposed by somebody else. Obligation necessity, okay? And had to is going to be for the past time, like she has to look after her mother. So it's not that she is willing to do it. Okay, if she is willing to do it, then we have to say, I have to look after my mother. That could be the sentence. Or we can say you must look after your mother. Then that means the speaker is making the sentence for somebody else. That can be done. But if you say she has to look after her mother, in this situation, we are making an obligation for somebody else. Okay, we are making this obligation for she, and she has to look after her mother. She had to finish, he had to finish his work before 5 p.m. So this was the necessity, or this was an obligation imposed on he, that he had to complete this work before 5 p.m. and in the past. Now guys, if you are giving some advice, so we have one more word which we can use, has to, have to, or had to. Okay, first you have to mix the water and the sugar. Again, we are talking about external authorities are telling this to us. She had to take those pills to get better. So we are talking about the time in the past. Now have to and had to are also used to draw a logical conclusion. Just like must was there, if nothing else seems possible and there is only one way of coming to the conclusion, in that case we use must. And here also we can use either have to, has to, or had to, or we can also go for must. Like there has to be some mistake for his mischief, or this has to be part of whole plan. So we can also use must in this case. We can say this there must be. Okay, there has to be in place of this. We can also go for there must be some reason for his mischief. Okay, there is no issue in there. It's just for the obligation. If there is external obligation, we have to use has to, have to, had to. And if you talk about the obligation imposed by the speaker, then we have to go for the word must. Okay, have to is also used for supposition or to describe something based on possible ideas or situation. Okay, when you think this thing is possible because of this idea, in that case also you can use has to, have to, had to. Like you will have to work very hard to stand first. Okay, you can also use, if you are giving emphatic advice in this sentence, which word will you use here if you are being emphatic?
Must.
Very good. Okay, you will have to work hard, very hard to stand first. So we are supposing we are describing something based on possible
ताकि
ideas.
कौन सी गाड़ी
If
है
the
इसे?
person, yes,
लाल
sir,
कलर
beta.
की है.
Okay, here we are saying you will have to work very hard to stand first. So the person is saying, if you want to stand first in the class, okay, then what you have to do? You have to
You have to
work very
work
hard.
very hard.
Okay, and if you are giving some advice to somebody, in that case, what you can say? You must work very hard to stand first in the class. That means you are the one making this statement. Okay, beta. If she has to choose, she will not marry. Okay, so again, we are saying for supposition or to describe something based on possible ideas. So we can use has to, have to, or had to. And the last thing is very important, guys, because has to, have to, had to has one more use, and that is going to be when something is very important or necessary. Okay, it's not that we have to use has to, have to, had to only. We can also go for need or need to. Like we have to be more careful in future. Okay, so we are trying to say it's very important to be uh, careful in future, or we are saying it is necessary to be more careful in future. So when you want to say that something is very important or something is necessary, so you can use has to, have to, had to, or you can use need. Like we have to be more careful in future, or we need to be more careful in future. They will have to call their debts before December. Okay, whatever they have, the loan they have taken, okay, they have to clear that before December, or they can, you can say they need to clear all their debts before December. Any doubts so far?
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
All right. Now let's go to the next thing, use of ought to. Okay. First the pronunciation, guys. It's not ought. Most of the time people pronounce it as ought. There's nothing like ought. Okay, we just pronounce it as aw. Like in Hindi, we have aw, ow. Remember? So the first aw is going to be our pronunciation for this word. Okay, it's not ought. It is going to be aw. Now in affirmative case, when the sentence is affirmative, what's the meaning of affirmative? When the sentence is
Positive.
positive. In that case, guys, we use the word to with aw. But if you change this sentence into negative or interrogative, then we are not supposed to use the word to. Okay, that's the first thing. Now later I'll tell you how we can make a sentence with or without to. So aw is usually followed by to and an infinitive. Infinitive is going to be first form of the verb in affirmative sentences only. Like you ought to tell the truth. So this sentence is going to be correct. Okay, because we are saying you, then we are saying ought to, and then we are using first form of the verb afterward. Now when you talk about in the sentence in simple present tense, guys. So in simple present tense, if you remember, what do we say? He goes to home. Oh, sorry, he goes to school, or he go to school.
He goes to school.
Goes is there, right? But this is a modal, guys. Okay, this is the helping main verb we are talking about. That's why with he we are saying goes is going to be correct. But when you talk about the modal verb, we don't use s or es to change the meaning. Like here, she ought to work a little harder is going to be correct. But can I say she ought to work a little harder? Is that going to be correct?
No, sir.
That one is going to be incorrect. Okay, we cannot make a sentence that way. Okay, it can also be used as a in the present time for past time and future time. That means we can use it in present tense, past tense, and future tense. Okay, so two things so far. When you use ought to, we are going to use first form of the verb with that, and second thing is going to be we are not going to add s or es with aw. No matter we have singular noun or we have plural noun, we have singular pronoun or plural pronoun. Okay, now when you are turning the sentence into negative, guys, okay, negative and interrogative, aw is not going to take the word to. Like we are going to say, oh, I do it at once. Okay, is it necessary that I have to complete this at once? Or, but I cannot say, oh, I have to do it at once. This is going to be incorrect. So who can tell what is wrong in this sentence? Why it is wrong? The second one. The
Sir,
highlighted
because
one.
to is
Yes. And the sentence is in which form? Interrogative, right? Question mark is there, interrogative question form. So we cannot use the word to. Same thing happens when we have the sentence negative, guys. Like he or not disobey his parents. So that's going to be correct. But can I say he or not to disobey his parents? Will that be right?
No, sir.
No, that's
No,
going to be
sir.
incorrect. Okay, reason again, same reason. What are we using here? The word to,
Two.
which is not allowed. I hope these things are clear so far, everyone.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, now
Yes,
who
sir.
can tell the when do we use this word or to? Anyone?
When a sentence is in affirmative.
Affirm. Okay, very good. And or only without to. In which two cases we can use or only?
If
Sir,
this
when
is
the
an
condition is
Negative.
interrogative or negative.
Very good. Okay, so if you say or not, so I'm going to use to afterward, like he or not to do it.
No, sir.
No.
No, sir.
Okay, that's going to be wrong. Very good. Okay, now let's understand the uses, guys. Okay, when I talk about the uses, there are multiple uses. In books, you'll be finding only one or two uses, but I'm going to tell you more than one uses. So when I say ought to is used basically for expressing what is the right or sensible thing to do. Okay, we see that something is right or sensible. In these two cases, guys, we are supposed to use the word ought to. In place of ought to, we can also go for should, but should is going to be because should and ought to, okay, can be used interchangeably. That means we can change them. There is no harm in doing it. But if there is a sentence wherein we are not just advising someone, we are just telling the person that this is the right thing, this is the sensible thing, or we are talking about moral duties. In such a case, guys, we prefer to have ought to in place of should. Otherwise, we can always go for either ought to or should. Is that clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Clear.
ought to is similar to should, but remember, if you have something right or sensible thing to do, we are talking about moral duties. Moral duties means something which is coming straight from your heart. Okay, you feel this is the right thing. In such a case, guys, use the word ought to. Like you ought to get up earlier. So this is going to be why we are saying ought to here, not should. Because this is the right thing to do. When you get up earlier, what will happen? You will spend your whole day properly, right? You can also say you should get up earlier. So should is going to be you're advising someone, but ought to is going to mean this is the right thing, this is a sensible thing, this is your moral duty towards your body. Okay, that's why we are going to use ought to here. We ought to exercise daily. So somebody will be asking, why are we not using should here? Should is going to be advice. We are giving some advice to somebody that okay, you should exercise daily if you want to lose weight or if you want to stay fit. But if we say we ought to exercise daily, so we are saying this is the right thing, this is the sensible thing, or it's a moral duty towards our body. Okay, that's why we are going to use ought to. Now let's see one more example. Very good example, I would say. Teachers ought not smoke before students. So we are using ought not here because it's their duty to not smoke in front of students or not smoke at all. The reason, if we smoke as a teacher, what you guys will be learning from us? Only the bad habits, right? So that's why this is not a sensible thing. This is not a good thing. And this is a moral duty also of the teachers, okay, or the elders. So that's the reason we are going to use the or not here. Should is going to become is going to make the sentence advice, or not is going to make it moral duty or something which is right or sensible thing. Any doubt, beta?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Sir.
Okay, so that's the one use of ought to. Okay, now there are more uses of ought to. Ought to is also used when we believe or strongly believe or we expect that something will happen in the future. For example, there is cricket match which is taking place, and if you say the Indian team, if you say will win, so it's going to mean you are saying that 100% chances are that it will win. Okay, but if you say the Indian team ought to win, so it is going to mean you expect the team India to win. Okay, so when you say the Indian team ought to win, so it is going to mean you strongly believe in it or you strongly expect that this thing will happen in the future. Satish ought to pass. When you say Satish ought to pass, guys, so what are we trying to say in this sentence? Anyone?
So that
So that we
it
strongly
is
believe that he will pass.
Yes. Okay, we strongly
that he
believe
would
that he will
pass.
pass. That's what we are trying to say. But if I say Satish to pass, will that be sentence? Will that sentence be correct?
No, sir.
Okay, if I say Satish has to pass, so that is going to mean it is really compulsory. If he doesn't pass, then what will happen? Something bad will happen to him,
Punished.
right?
Punished.
So, yeah, he may be punished, or there could be any XYZ thing that could happen to him. So we can say here when I say Satish ought to pass, that is going to mean it's a strong belief, and we can only believe in someone Can we say that if you don't pass, then this will, I'll beat you up or something bad will happen to you? Can we say that? Not really, right? That's not
Yes.
a sensible
No,
thing.
sir.
So that's the reason, guys. We cannot say Satish has to pass until unless you are really making some condition in front of Satish. Otherwise, use the word ought to. The meeting ought to have finished by 2 o'clock. So when I say the meeting ought to have finished by 2 o'clock, so we are saying that we strongly believe or we strongly expect that the meeting will have completed by this time. Acha, one sentence which we can get in exam, like she dashed pass this time, ought to or has to. What should be right? She has to pass an exam,
Ought.
or she ought to pass.
She has to.
Ought.
Yes, she ought to.
Sir,
Right.
ought to.
I told you the same sentence, then again you're using has to here, right?
Ought.
When I made this sentence, Satish has to pass. So that is going to mean it is compulsory. Can we make it compulsion for Satish that he has to pass?
No, sir.
Not really, right? So what can we say? We can expect him to pass in the exam. We can expect you guys to pass in the exam. Yes or no? But it's not that we want to make it some obligation that you have to pass. So we can say she dashed to pass this time. So we are going to say she ought to pass. When you say ought to here, what's the meaning coming up? We
A
expect,
strong belief.
yes, we expect the person to pass. So we are talking about expectation here. All right.
Yes.
Okay. Now, guys, ought to is also used with these three words. These three verbs, they are going to be see, hear, and meet. And with see, hear, and meet, we use ought to when you want to emphasize that something is very good, something is impressive, it is marvelous or unusual. In that case, with see, hear, and meet, we use the word ought to. For example, you went to somebody's house and you saw their house and it was really good. Okay, that means it was splendid. And you really felt so good that you called up your brother immediately and you said, you ought to see their new house. So it is going to mean because their house is very impressive. Okay, so you want the brother also to come to their house and look at their house. So when you believe, because when you say that something is, when you want to emphasize over that something is very good, very impressive, or something is unusual, in that case you can use the word ought to with see, hear, and meet. Like you ought to see their new house is going to mean because the house is impressive, you should come here and have a look at it. You ought to meet his elder brother. So again, when you say you ought to meet his elder brother, is going to mean you want to emphasize that his brother is very good, he's really impressive or unusual. You don't find a brother like him here and there. So in these cases, guys, with see, hear, and meet, we can use the word ought to. Like you found a song and you really found it impressive, and you want to make sure that your brother also, your sister also listens to the same. In that case, you can say you ought to hear this song. That is going to mean when you say you ought to hear this song, that is going to mean the song is impressive or it's very good, that you should listen to it. Okay, so in such a case also we can use ought to. So two more uses I've told you of ought to. One is going to be when we say that we strongly believe in something. In that case, we can use ought to. When you use ought to with see, hear, and meet, it is also going to emphasize that something is very good or impressive. Now we have ought to have, guys. In the last class also I told you when we have like word with have, in that case we are talking about things which are done in the past. Okay, so ought to have is also when something is done in the past time and when you realize that we did something which was not the right thing. Okay, we did something which was not the right thing. In that case, we can use ought to have. For example, you ought to have listened to my advice. You advise someone that it may rain today. Okay, take a raincoat with you. The person did not take the raincoat. Okay, when he came back, so he was already wet. And then you are telling the person, you ought to have listened to my advice. So you're telling this thing here because the person did not listen to your advice, and just because of that, he did not take the raincoat with him, and now he is already wet. Okay, he may fall sick later on. So when we realize that we did not do the right thing in the past, in that case also we can use ought to have. Like she ought to have taken the money. You want to give money to someone, but the person did not take the money from you. Okay, then we can use ought to have here. Like she ought to have taken the money. That means the person did not take the money and this was not the right thing. Okay, everyone. Doubt? Anyone?
No, sir, no doubts so far.
Okay.
No, sir.
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
Okay, now let's understand about ought to in detail. So ought to is used to express the subject's obligation or duty. Okay, that means we are referring to which type of duties? Some moral duties. Okay, the speaker is only reminding the subject of his duty. He's telling him that this is the right thing, this is the correct thing, this is a sensible thing. In that case, we are supposed to use the word ought to. Now let's understand the uses or difference between ought to, must, have to, and should. Because sometimes we may get one of the word, so we have to use it properly. So a speaker's authority, if you are showing, that is going to mean the speaker is imposing something on himself or somebody else. In that case, guys, we are going to use the word must. Like speaker's authority, speaker himself feels something. In that case, we are supposed to use the word must. If there is an outside authority, that means somebody else is imposing a rule on us or on somebody else. In that case, we are going to use the word has to, have to, or had to. Okay, like someone is ordered to do something by someone else. In such a case, we can use has to, have to, or had to. Like I must reach there in time. So it is going to mean the speaker is feeling something for himself that he should reach somewhere in time. You have to reach office in time. So this is going to mean he is ordered to do so by some external authority, or these are the rules of the office. We can see more example, like you have to be regular. So when you say you have to be regular, so these are the rules. These are not the rules made by the speaker. These are the rules made by some office, some external authority. Okay, and we have to follow them because we are asked to follow them by somebody else. You must obey your elders. So when you say you must obey your elders, the speaker is making this obligation. And the speaker is insisting that you must obey your elders. Okay, the speaker is making sure that this thing happens. When that means the speaker, like if I make this sentence, you must obey your elders. So that means I am the one making this. I'm insisting on it. Okay, I'm telling it to my brother or somebody, and I'm making sure that this thing happens. You have to take this medicine. So you have to take this medicine. That means the doctor is telling to somebody else. Okay, so in that case, we are going to use have to. You have to take this medicine. Its obligation is there. So it is really compulsory. But these are the rules made by the doctor, not by the person himself. You must take this medicine. When you say you must take this medicine, that means the speaker, the one who is speaking, the one who is making this sentence, he is the one telling it. The speaker insists on it, or it is the speaker's emphatic advice. Now, must not is there when we say that something is strongly not allowed. Like you must not drink this, it is poison. So that means this is strongly not allowed, or prohibition is there. In that case, also we can use must not. Any doubts so far? Anyone?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Now let's continue with
Sir.
should and ought to. So should is basically there for normal duties. Okay, when we have normal duties, we are talking about normal advice, or we are talking about normal suggestion. In such a case, guys, we are supposed to use the word should. Now ought to can be used in exactly the same way as should. Okay, there is no big difference between should and ought to, because both are basically used for advices. But should is going to be for normal duties, normal advice, normal suggestion. Okay, then you can interchange should and ought to. But if you talk about some moral duties, or you really want to talk about this is the moral duty of the person, or this is the right thing, or this is the sensible thing, in that case use the word ought to. And should is going to be used for normal duties. Now how will you differentiate between should and ought to in exam? So remember guys, if you have a sentence wherein you don't have the object in the sentence, okay, like here you dash obey your parents. So what can we say? You should obey your parents, because it's a normal duty. We are just normally advising someone that this is what you should do. We are advising the person. Okay, here we can also go for ought to. Ought to will turn this sentence into a moral duty or something right thing or sensible thing. But if you have the object given in the sentence, like here when you say you dash to drive carefully because you have children waiting at home. So here we have some object given in the sentence. Do we have an object? Yes, guys. Do we have an object here? This thing, like because you have
Yes,
children
sir.
waiting at home, or we have a reason we can say. So when some reason is given to you in the sentence, guys, always go for the word ought to, because some reason is given. That means we want to make sure that the person follows it, because it's going to be our this is the sensible thing, this is the right thing. Okay, a moral duty is there. So we are going to use ought to in this case. But if you just have a sentence like this, then we can use either should or we can use ought to. Like you should obey your parents, A normal duty we are talking about. They have taken care of yourself. Now it's your time to take care of them. But if you say you dash to drive carefully because you have children waiting at home, so this is going to turn into a moral duty. We are talking about this is the right thing. Okay, so we are going to use ought to here. Okay, so when reason is given in the sentence, do go for the word ought to. Now we have the sentence here, you ought not smoke so much. So when you say you ought not smoke so much, so we are saying it is not the right thing or sensible thing. So that's why the person should stop smoking. That's what we are trying to say. Okay, now let's go to the word, the next modal, that is going to be need. Before we go to need, guys, we have to understand need is a modal verb and need is a main verb. Okay, so need can work as a modal verb and at the same time it can work as a main verb. Whenever need is working as a modal verb, okay, we have to use to with it. Sorry, we don't have to use to. Okay, so need is being used as a modal verb. We cannot use the word to. And when we are using need as a main verb, in that case, we are going to use the word to. For example, if you have he need oblique needs to go home, what will you say? He need or need to go home? Yes, everyone.
So he needs to go home.
He needs to go.
Needs to go
He
home.
needs.
Very good. Okay, he needs to go home. Now here, when I say needs to is being added. So I'm using need as a main verb or as a modal verb.
Main verb.
Very good. Need is being used as a main verb. There are two ways of identifying it, guys. Already, which word we have used with this sentence? What is the word given? To we have used, right?
To.
So need takes to when we are using it as a main verb. Now in how which type of sentences it will act as a main verb? So remember, if we are talking about simple present tense and simple past tense, okay, simple present and simple past tense, affirmative sentence. Okay, simple present and simple past tense, affirmative sentence. In that case, need always acts as a main verb. It does not act as a modal verb, but in affirmative sentence only. And when you are turning the sentence negative, in that case, if you are using the word like do, does, did, in that case, the word need is going to become a main verb. For example, is this in clear, everyone? He needs to go home. Why it is going to be he needs to go home?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, if you change the sentence into negative, so we can write the sentence in two different ways. We can say he does not need or need to go home, or we can say he need not or need not to go home. So let's see how many of you have the concepts right. So he does not need or need to go home. What should we write?
Need.
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 Need or need to?
Need to.
Very good. Okay, what are we using here?
Need to.
Does not is given, right?
Does not.
So does not is going to be what type of helping verb? Primary helping verb? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
We are discussing about the helping verbs. There are two
Yes,
types:
sir.
primary helping verb and modal helping verb. So when you have primary helping verb, after primary helping verb, what do we use? Yes. Which type of verb we are going to use after primary helping verb?
Main verb.
Main verb. So that is going to mean need is being used as a main verb here. Yes or no, everyone? Use the word to. What we have to use here? We have to use the word to. Okay, we can also make the same sentence in negative without using the word to, or we can turn this into negative. Like he need not or need not to go home. So what should be correct?
Need not.
Need.
Need not. Can I go for need not to?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No. Okay, so here need not is being used as a modal verb. When need is being used as a modal verb, can we use to with it? Okay, so we are not supposed to use the word to. That's the only difference between need and need to, guys. Okay, sometimes we are confused whether we have to go for need to or we have to use need only. So remember, if you are using need as a main verb, Main verb, how you can say that the need will be used as a main verb? The need is used as a main verb when, okay, as a main verb when we have it in simple present tense or simple past tense, but in which form? Affirmative case. Okay, or we have do, does, or did before need. In that case, guys, need is working as what? Main verb. And what we have to use? Use to in the sentence. What are we supposed to use in this case? We are going to use to word. Like here we had he need or needs to go home. So since he was given, so we cannot go for need here, right? As a main verb, need is going to take s or es with it, right? That's the reason we are going to say he needs to go home. This one is going to be correct. We cannot say he need go home. That's going to be incorrect. But when you change this into negative, so we have two options. He does not or he need not. So if you use does not, do not, did not, in that case, go for need to. What I'm going to go for? Need to.
So
And
need to.
if you use need not only, then we cannot go for the word to. Like here, he need not go home. Either way, the sentence has the same meaning, guys. We can say he does not need to go home or he need not go home. Either way, the sentence is going to be correct. Here, when I say does not need to, so I'm using need as a main verb. Since I'm using it as a main verb, so I'm going to use which word? To is going to be added. And here need not is being used as a modal verb. And that's the reason we are going to use, we are not using the word to, or we are removing the word to from the sentence. Is that clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
If I want to change the sentence into interrogative, so I can say, do I need or need to go home? Or need I go home? Or need I to go home? So how will you make the sentence? First one, do I need or need to go home?
I need to.
Need to go.
Very good. Okay, do I need
Need
to? Because what are we using at the beginning? Primary helping verb, which is going to be do. So need is acting as, need is being used as a main verb. So what we have used in the sentence? To has
Sir,
been used.
to.
Okay, now in exam, guys, they will be giving you a sentence based on need to. They will, whenever you have helping verbs given in the sentence, guys, remember need is going to be need is going to take the word to. And when we have a sentence with only need not is given, then after that don't use the word to, because that option is going to be incorrect. Or here I can say need I or need I to go home. Which one is going to be correct?
Need.
Can I say need I to go home?
No, sir.
No. What I have to remove? To from here. Okay, need I go home is going to be correct. Why it is correct? Need here is working as what? Modal verb. Okay,
Modal
so
verb.
remove to from the sentence. Okay, beta, or no use of to in the sentence. Any doubt?
No, sir.
Now, so need as a main verb, sorry, as a modal verb, we don't use the word to with it. Need as a main verb, we are going to use the word to. And generally, this sentence will be in simple present or simple past, affirmative sentence, or we can have the sentence using do, does, or did. Like he needs to work hard. This is going to be correct. If you want to change this negative, if you want to make a sentence using need in the negative, so either you can say he need not go there, or we can say he does not need to go there. But can I say he need not go there? He need not to go there. Will that be right?
No, sir.
No.
Incorrect.
Okay. And how about this sentence? He does not need go there. Is that correct?
No, sir.
It is also going to
The
be
two
incorrect.
is required.
Yes. Okay. To is required because does not is being used. Here to is not required because we are just using need not. Okay. So here need not is working as a modal verb and does not need to. So it is need is working as a main verb here. Okay. So as a main verb, we have to use to. As a modal verb, we have to remove to. We can say need I go now. Or how else we can form the sentence? We can say do I need to go now. Either way, the sentence is correct, guys. All right. Because we are using primary helping verb here, so we are using to word with need. And here we are using need directly as a modal verb, so we are not using the word to in the sentence. Like you need not go or you do not need to go. But can I say you need not to go? Will that be right? In this sentence, you need not to go.
No,
Will that be
sir.
right? No. And here, can I say you do not need go?
No, sir.
No,
That's
sir.
also going to be
No, sir.
incorrect. Very good. Okay, now let's understand the uses, guys. So when something is not necessary, in that case, we use the word need not or do not, does not, did not, as per the requirement of the sentence. Like they need not send their letter now. So when I say they need not send the letter now, that is going to mean it is not necessary for them to send the letter now. Or we can say they do not need to send the letter now. Okay, so one sentence we can write two different ways. Either we can use need not directly, or we can say need not to. But if you say need not to, in that case, okay, if you're saying need not, in that case, we are not going to use the word to. But if you say do not, does not, did not, then use the word to. Like next sentence we have, you need not go, or we can say you do not need to go. That means it is not necessary for you to go. He need not come now, or we can say he does not need to come now. When something is obligatory or necessary, okay, some necessity we are showing in the sentence. So we can also use need, like in the interrogative form also, like need I attend the class today? So the person is asking, is it obligatory? Is it necessary for me to attend the class? Or we can say, do I need to attend the class today? Either way, the sentence is correct. Need he solve all the sums? So we are asking, does the person need to solve all the sums? So we can make the sentence this way. Now we have need not have, guys. Now need not have is used when you say or you want to express that some action which was performed in the past was unnecessary. Okay, so in that case we can use need not have. So some part of past tense will already be given to you in the sentence. Like here, you need not have gone to see the doctor. He was on leave today. So this part, if you talk about he was on leave today, which tense are we using here? Present or past?
The past.
Past tense we are using. Okay, that is going to mean we are referring to something in the past time. So when you have something in the past and we are saying that some action was taken which was not necessary, or it was an unnecessary action in the past, so we can use need not have. Like you need not have gone to see the doctor. So the person will be saying why? Because he was on leave today. You need not have carried an umbrella as it was not raining. Okay, so need not have is going to mean some unnecessary action was taken, and you're just reminding the person of the action which he had performed in the past. So we can use need not have. Okay, now we have the word dare. Dare is going to be used when you want to say somebody is showing courage in the sentence. Okay, like how did you dare to answer back him? So we are using the word dare here. So how you had the courage to answer back. That's what we are trying to say in the sentence. Now dare has the same concept as of need, guys. Okay, need when we are using as a main verb, do we use to with it or not? Everyone. Do as a main verb. Sorry, need as a main verb. Are we going to use to or not? Am I audible?
We can use.
Okay, we have to use.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we have to use to with. Yes. And if need is being used as a modal verb, in that case, do we have to use to in the sentence?
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
No. Okay, same concept is there with the dare, guys. When you say dare, dare can work as a main verb and as a modal verb. When dare is working as a main verb, in that case, we have to use the word to. And when dare is working as a modal verb, we don't have to use the word to. Like, or we can say, dare you go outside now? Do you have the courage to go outside now? Or we can say, do you dare to go outside now? Either way, the sentence is correct. Okay, but can I say, dare you go to outside now?
No,
No,
sir.
sir. You
No,
can.
we cannot
No,
use
No,
it.
sir.
sir.
Okay, because dare is acting as a modal verb here. But if you say, do you dare to go outside now? This is also going to be correct. But can I say, do you dare go outside now? Will that be right?
No, sir.
No.
No, sir.
Okay, like she dared her sister to touch her. So in the past, we are referring to simple past and positive sentence, affirmative sentence. So we are using the word dared. She dared her sister to touch her. In the past, we are saying. He does not dare go outside now. Is the sentence correct? He does not dare go outside now.
No, sir.
No. Okay, we have to say
No,
he does
sir.
not dare to go outside now, because this sentence is going to be correct we are using does not, do not, did not. After that, we have to use the word to with dare and need also. Okay, now the last thing we are going to discuss. Before that, any doubt to anyone in any of the models we have discussed so far?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No,
No.
sir.
Let's talk about the could have, should have, and would have, guys. So often we are confused whether we have to go for could have, we have to go for would have, or we have to go for should have. So these are the models of lost opportunities. So we are calling them models of lost opportunities. Do you think there is a specific reason behind it? Why are we calling them models of lost opportunities? Is something related to have?
Yes, sir.
Okay, when we have a modal with have, are we referring to the present time or the past time?
So the past time which is lost
For the
actually.
past.
Which is lost. Very
The
good.
past
Okay.
time.
So that's the reason, guys. Since we are referring to the past time using have, like could have, would have, should have. So we are referring to the past time. That's why these modals are known as modals of lost opportunities, because we are referring to something done in the past. Achha, since we are talking about the past time, so do we have can have, may have, or shall? Okay, shall have is there, but not as a modal. Okay, that is going to be our main verb in the future perfect tense. But can we have can have, may have? Are they right?
No, sir.
Okay, they are going to be wrong. Why are they wrong?
So because with have we are referring to the past and can and may are related to present.
Yes, can and may are for present time only, guys. Okay, that's the reason we cannot use. We don't say can have. Like we don't say he can have done it. So we are going to say could have, would have, should have. So already we are talking about which time? Past time here. So guys, when you refer to these models, could, would, should, followed by have. So we don't use has here. Okay, has and had, they are not used because we only have could have, would have, and should have. If you use could have is going to be is going to talk about the ability. When the person was able to do something, okay, in that case we can use could have. Like she could have gone to any college she wanted to. That means the person had ability to go to any college that she wanted to go for. Getting it better? Now would
Yes,
have
sir.
is used when we have two of the things. Okay, like I would have gone to the party, but I was tired. That means I would have done A, but I had to be B. So when we have two of the option in the sentence, and we are referring to I would have done this, but some issues were there. Okay, we are talking about I would have done this, but some issues were there. In that case, we can use would have. Like I would have called you, but there was no telephone service, or there was no network area, or there was no network, or I was in a remote area. So in that case, I'm referring to I would have called you. That was possible in the past. I'm talking about something possible in the past. But there was another reason. Because of that, the first thing was not possible. Okay, so then we can use would have. Now should have is there, guys, when we talk about the expectation. Okay, when you expected something from someone. Okay, in that case only we are supposed to use should have. Like he should have told the truth about what he saw. Now telling the truth is some expectation only. Yes or no? We can only expect
Yes, sir.
someone to
Yes, sir.
speak the truth.
Yes.
It's not that you have to really tell the person. No, you have to tell the truth. They can still lie, right? But we can expect them to tell the truth. So when you talk about the expectations, in that case we can use should have. Could have is for abilities, and would have is used when we would have done one thing, but some issues were there, and that's why the first thing became impossible. We are going to use would have in such a case. Now let's discuss them in detail. So could have is for past abilities. Okay, one person had some ability in the past. In that case, we can use could have. Like I could have gone directly to college, but I decided to travel for a year. So he's saying that the person had the ability to go to any college, but he decided to travel for a year. In this case, we can also go for would have. That means this thing was possible, but the person decided something else. We can also use would have in this case, in this sentence. But if we use could have is going to talk about the past ability. Would have is going to talk about the past possibility. Okay, now to form the negative of could have, we are going to say could not have. And now it is going to mean something which was impossible in the past. For example, she could not have been on the flight because I just saw her at work. So we are talking about somebody whom we saw at work. Okay, and we are talking about a flight. So we are saying that she could not have been on the flight. Why she could not have been on the flight? Because we just saw her in the office or at work. Okay, beta. Now we would have same concept when something was possible in the past, but some issues were there because of which the first thing became impossible. So we can say I would have done A, but I had to do B. So in that case, we can use would have. Okay, you wanted to do something in the past, but you could not. In that case, we can use would have. Like I would have called you, but there was no phone service. I would have loaned you the money, but I did not have any. So we are talking about this thing was possible in the past, but this was the issue in the past. And this, because of this issue, the first thing became impossible. I would have loaned you the money. Okay, this thing was possible, but this was the issue in the past. And since because of this issue, okay, the first thing became impossible. So we can use would have. Now, if you remember from the past perfect tense, we had one conditional. Which conditional was there with past perfect tense? First, second, third, or zero? Which conditional was there? Riti, Gauri, which conditional was there? Arman? Yes,
Can you
Divyanshu.
repeat?
Sir, second.
Second or third conditional, guys?
The third.
Third was
Sir,
there.
third.
Okay. So would have is also used in third conditional, guys. Like we are here, we are going to say if plus past perfect tense and would have. Here we are talking about past unreal conditional. We are talking about the lost things or the lost opportunities. We are talking about things which were, if one thing had happened in the past, then second thing would have happened. Okay, in such a case, we can use if plus past perfect tense. On the other hand, would have, should have, could have, might have, must have. These are the words. Generally, we use would have. So, like this sentence. If I had known they were vegetarians, that means I did not know they were vegetarians, or the person did not know the other person, people were vegetarians. So the person is saying, if I had known they were vegetarians, I would have made a salad. But since the person did not know, so something else was prepared. We can also interchange them. I can say I would have made a salad if I had known they were vegetarians. So either way, this is going to be correct. Now, since we are already done with the conditional, so we are not going to waste more time here. Let's go to should have. So should have is basically used, guys, when we say something did not happen, but we wish it had happened. Okay, when you talk about the expectations in the past, or you talk about the past mistakes, then we are supposed to use the word should have. Like, I was so worried about you, you should have called. So the person did not call, but we expected the person to call, right? So just because of this reason,
Yes,
we can
sir.
use the word should have. Like, I was so worried about you, you should have called. So here, should have is going to mean this is the expectation of mine, or this is the expectation of the person from the other. Should have is common in apologies, guys. When you're going to apologize to someone, in that case, also you use the should have. Like, I'm sorry that I'm late for work. So here, the sorry word is the one which is going to tell you that, okay, we are talking about apologies. So if you have to use something in the past, so go for should have. Like, I'm sorry that I'm late for work. I should have woken up earlier. I should have messaged you at least, or I should have texted you at least. So I'm talking about this is the past mistake. This is something which I should have done. Okay, so should have is going to be common in apologies. All right, everyone.
Yes, sir.
Any
What is
any
Yes,
doubt?
sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.